Hello and welcome to another episode of Historic Hindsight. I'm John, that's Tom, and today we're going to talk about Thanksgiving traditions.
That's right, Johnny. It is now officially our second Thanksgiving Day special. Second, we've
How about that?
been at this for well over a
a,
year. We're almost in a 2-year mark, so that's something.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And nearly at 1,000 subscribers. Just a couple hundred more to go.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
that's
not
no
even a
big deal.
couple of hundred.
A little over 100, but
yeah,
not much.
115 from my last count. So yeah, we're almost there. We're
All
getting
right,
there.
so are we just discussing our very own family Thanksgiving
No,
traditions?
we're
sharing?
discussing. No,
Is this
we're
a sharing circle?
this is we're discussing the best holiday tradition has pretty much been ended, and I don't know why, because it sounded amazing and I wish I could have participated. We're talking about Ragamuffin Day, Johnny, the greatest holiday of all, where children would dress up as homeless children and go door to door where adults would hurl pennies at them for their treats. So this is a pre-Halloween tradition. Think of trick or
Okay, so
treating.
this isn't Halloween though.
No, this is on Thanksgiving Day.
Was
Yeah, they would do this.
Was Halloween? Was this in addition to Halloween?
This is pre what we consider
These
our
leftover
Halloween. This is like what Halloween would transition into, because this is before what Halloween was.
kind of took
This
took
part of
over
it, yeah.
Ragamuffin Day.
Yes, yes.
Now, okay, so children would dress up as poor people exclusively. Was it like a that was the costume, or
That's what it started out as.
Would they do
yeah.
other things?
Yeah, they would do. They would.
It started
eventually,
out
but
as
they
them
started
just dressing up as just being poor.
just being poor, or maybe just out in their normal clothes, because we're gonna get into this here. Well, we're gonna do the history of it. So way back.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
What
Johnny.
the hell?
Johnny, way back in 1863, it's a little Thanksgiving Day history as well for us.
Oh.
So way back in 1863, Lincoln is going to encourage America to make the last Thursday of November a day of Thanksgiving. Specifically, this was done because we're at a war. We've been at war for
this is a morale booster,
Yeah.
right? This is giving something for people to kind of get behind,
Yeah,
and remember where you came from and try to bring back the South, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Specifically, it's like to thank the soldiers for putting up 2 years of fighting at that point, and to thank the fact that we were still in existence as a nation at all. So
Sort of. I mean,
sort
half
of,
a nation,
half
but
a
what are you
nation.
gonna do?
And it definitely is better than his day of remorse that he had. If you're an avid watcher of Civil War hindsight,
yeah. No,
yeah,
it wasn't.
day of
It was
remorse.
a day of embarrassment.
Yeah,
of national
basically.
embarrassment, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I think it was like, hey, feel bad about everything that's going on.
Feel bad that
what
we
we've done.
lost 2 battles in a row. Way to go, guys! So, but anyways, this is his next attempt. And like I said, it's more of like a Veterans Day, really, or like a Memorial Day than it is what we would think of as Thanksgiving.
Okay, so now this was the first U.S. Thanksgiving, though, right? It wasn't something being celebrated before that he
No.
adapted. This was him basically setting up the national holiday of Thanksgiving.
Yes and
Or
no.
was it celebrated?
Yeah. So yes and no. So Thanksgiving itself, actually, or the notion of Thanksgiving, goes back all the way to 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Oh, it was a bullshit story. No, it does go back. It does go back to November 26, 1789, when George Washington issues the first proclamation asking for a day of Thanksgiving and prayer, which did happen to be the last Thanksgiving in November of that month.
Last Thursday in November.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's what I meant. And it was kind of also to thank the soldiers for fighting and a nation for existing. So in reality, Thanksgiving really started out more like Veterans Day than like a day of feasting and thanking us for slaughtering all the Indians, or the Indians helping us not starve.
No. For the Indians, feeding us and helping us through the cold winter months, even though they were dressed in their summer clothes, apparently. Based on the pictures that I've seen.
Yes, yeah.
Dressed as savages.
Just all loincloths, nothing else. Yep. Yep. But in any case, when Congress made the holiday official in 1870, they needed some traditions to go along with it. And much like our current traditions, feasts were in fact involved. And it is important to note, like I said from the beginning, that Halloween, as we celebrate it today, doesn't exist. So the trick-or-treating did not exist at this point. So we have children who get up underneath foot when you're cooking the Thanksgiving Day dinners. And so the parents are like...
Oh, God. Yeah, you all remember being that annoying little kid getting kicked out of the kitchen a dozen times, right? And back in this day, it was one-room houses.
Yeah, so you're getting kicked out of that. you're getting kicked out of the house. So this whole tradition.
Go play hoop and stick.
My mom's a reenactor, and she makes all the kids come out and play with this frickin' hoop and stick thing all the time, and it's I hate it. Anyways, I would shoot myself in the face rather than play that damn game. But in any case, the tradition of Ragamuffin Day begins in New York City, New York. New York, New York.
Oh, okay. Big time, huh?
Basically, it's to get the children out of the house. And what better way to get the children out of the house than for them to take to the streets and start begging? So they would dress up as New York City. In New York cities, where homelessness was never a problem. So they
get
dressed
the hell out of the house, go walk around and
New York
beg
City.
for change.
And that's what they did. They dressed up as homeless people. Like kids would put mud on their face and look like they have like little beards.
Oh no, that was my costume for 3 or 4 years as a kid going for Halloween.
Yeah.
It was such an easy costume. You put on your dad's coat.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Put on your dad's bigger clothes.
Yeah. Get some dirt on your face. And
a little stick with a rag on the end or whatever. That thing. Which
a rucksack or something.
That could have never been a practical way to carry. That could not have been a practical way to carry your stuff. A bag on.
I mean, how much stuff can you carry on? Because it was usually what like they do it with like a handkerchief style.
Yeah,
you're getting what, half a bread roll in there? Like what?
Yeah, you're not getting much. That's for sure. But in any case, kids would go door to door, knocking on strangers' houses, begging for money, and that's appropriate because they're dressed as homeless people. And so
so now was this something? How do traditions like this start? Does the newspaper send out a thing saying, "Hey, dress up your kids as a homeless, and they'll throw some pennies at you"?
I imagine
if there's people not knowing what the hell's going on, don't have kids. All of a sudden, they're knocking on their door, and you get a bunch of tiny homeless people looking at you, wanting pennies, which are basically what, quarters today. Like, it's not nothing.
It's not nothing. No, it's
not nothing. And especially if you got 40 kids coming to your house, that's $10.
I imagine that it started out as kids just being like, hey, I got nothing else to do. Hey, let's go knock on doors and see if we can get some change. And it started like that. And then evolved into...
not knocking and doing the ding-dong ditch thing where you knock and run. They stayed there and asked for money.
I know Ragamuffin Day is pretty much exclusively to the New York region, like New York, and New Jersey. The New York Light. So it's pretty much those locations where it's isolated to, and it doesn't take a whole long length of time for this to become a little bit more standardized, and it becomes what's basically called Ragamuffin Parade. So as opposed to just going door to door randomly, there's like a designated hey, we got a street. You go down the street and you do your thing.
Yeah, Thanksgiving Day style parade, and I'm guessing was it a reverse parade where you had a bunch of homeless kids walking down the middle and parents throwing change and pennies at their heads from the sides?
That would have been better. Yeah,
that'd be pretty great. I'd go to that parade.
Just to be able to huck change at kids. Yeah.
I mean, just get a penny to the side of the head every once in a while.
Like I said, so by the early 1900s, it's now turning into more of a parade than it is like trick-or-treating per se. But like trick-or-treating, the children start begging for gifts, candy, monies, and they start dressing up as like different costumes. The homeless guy gets old after a couple of years, so they start dressing up. They start dressing up as sailors. They start dressing up as cross-dressing. This becomes a very popular thing for wee little tot boys that want to explore
to wear some dresses.
To wear some dresses. And I mean, I guarantee you, I did that in college once or twice. So it's something that's normal. It's normal. Freud would say it's totally normal. And then it would also
especially during an event where you're required to dress up. Like we used to, like my brother and I, one year we went trick or treating our normal costumes, and then went back and put on like some of our mom's summer dresses or whatever, and went around again. People knew it was us again, but they didn't care because they're like, oh, well, they went through the effort of 2 costumes, they get 2 candies.
So they get 2 candies. Yeah, so, no, that's a good way. I never did that. I never did the costume switch when I was out trick or treating.
It's a heady part. Especially in a smaller, like we were in a smaller neighborhood, we didn't have tons of houses, so that you had to do it.
Yeah, Walt Disney's now a thing at this point in the early 1900s. He's got his stuff that's starting to come around. So kids start to decorate, dress up, and around the 1930s they start going around as like Mickey Mouse and that kind of stuff. And they also start dressing up in the stereotypical racial costumes. Blackface. Yeah, blackface is definitely
the cartoon, like the cartoon style.
Yeah, that's definitely
off the charts races.
Yeah, they definitely start dressing up as the Irish and Any racial stereotype you can think of, they were dressing up like that because it's the 1900s and it's America, and
everybody's racist.
Everybody's racist. Yep. Like I said, by the 1930s, it's really at this point more of parades than it is anything else.
Okay.
Because letting children go door to door.
So up to the 30s. So this was a tradition that's healthy. It's a generation.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps going.
I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't end in the 30s either. It does keep going, and even today. But we'll get into that. So, like I said, more and more parades because dressing up as homeless people going to door to door in New York is not really going to get the attention that you want it to because that's just like a normal Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, we have more children begging for things and food and money. That's great.
Yeah. So it was viewed as unsafe or inconvenient. So like I said, parade routes do start to get...
A couple kids start getting pulled into apartments and things.
Yeah.
And everybody's worried. Everybody's freaking out. Oh, no. What are we going to do?
And then the idea of Thanksgiving parades kind of start to take off more and more flight, too. Up in New York, you have Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade is the first one that they do is actually in November of 1927. So you do get this tradition that starts to weed into more of that Thanksgiving Christmas Day parade kind of thing that comes out.
So all right. So you think we can attribute the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade to the Ragamuffin parades? They were the inspiration behind Macys doing the parade. Without the Ragamuffin racist holiday, we would not have our biggest parade.
And specifically because New York started to not like the parades by the 1930s. There were actually newspaper articles, and one of them I found in a quote, "Children will annoy adults begging for money and candy on Thanksgiving." And then they offer a new alternative, like a Christmas parade instead. And then they say the only people that celebrate Ragamuffin Day parades are in the outskirt boroughs of New York where the subway lines do not go. So they're also basically flat out saying this is only a poor person holiday. So if you don't want to be attributed to poor people, like maybe celebrate Macys Day Parade as opposed to...
So they started they were slandering this holiday, essentially.
Yeah, they started slandering.
I'm sure that wasn't entirely true. Now, do you think, obviously, there was the crash and then the Great Depression, all that, the crash in 1929. I imagine when you've lost everything and are no longer getting paid, it's a little more annoying to have a child come and beg for pennies from you than it is when you are doing okay. And so I would imagine that has something to do with people all of a sudden being like, we can't do this.
Can't
like
afford
this
is ridiculous.
It's just an embarrassment to have children come and remind me
that I'm
20 times on Thanksgiving that I don't have the money to throw pennies at their faces.
Yeah,
like
you're not entirely off the mark there, Johnny. And kudos for remembering when the Black Tuesday was the Great Depression. Yeah, way to go.
Hey. Black Tuesday. I've never heard of that. Black Friday. I know all about Black Friday. I just know the stock market crashed in 1929.
That was a Tuesday. Yeah.
Which is pretty damn good for me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyways, you're not too terribly far off. So once the Great Depression hits, that Ragamuffin basically splits off into two separate holidays. You start getting more and more of the traditional trick or treat that happens around Halloween, small candies and stuff, going door to door, dressing as costumes. So that aspect of the Ragamuffin Day kind of goes in that direction. And then you do have the parades around Thanksgiving, which become more like Christmas celebrations or pre-Christmas celebrations. That's why Macy's Days has the Santa Claus like woo, and it kind of goes.
It's kind of like. Thanksgiving's a weird holiday because it's really just the holiday that sets off, it's okay to celebrate Christmas now.
Yeah.
It's like you get half of Thanksgiving to be like, be thankful and everything. And then like at the second half, like noon on Thanksgiving, it's like, it's Christmas season.
Now
let's go.
Put up your Christmas lights. Or
that's right.
If you're married to my wife, they've been up for...
already
the whole month, just the whole month.
The only reason we don't have ours up is because we're getting a real tree. So we're waiting until the day after Thanksgiving. That way it'll only die 1 week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Christmas.
There you go. So in any case, like I said, it kind of splits off to these two different things. Now, in 1937, several organizations in New York really become having their competing parades. This is where Macy's Day really becomes a big one, and they really start doing, pushing off the Ragamuffin out into the obscurity.
Yeah, so we have like parade wars, essentially, is what you're saying?
Yeah, we start to have parade wars, and we really do see Ragamuffin kind of evolving into the Thanksgiving Day parade, because in the first couple of Macy's Day parades, they actually did have like children that would walk dressed up as homeless people, as kind of a tip of the hat nod to that old tradition.
Sure. Yeah, it'd be like one of the groups walking by is going to be a bunch of ragamuffins, like it is Boy Scouts today, or the Taekwondo school.
Yeah, or the marching bands or whatever else. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last officially sanctioned Ragamuffin Parade in New York was actually in 1956 before dying out.
Oh.
But it is not really dead, because they had a resurgence in New York that was held on October 15th, 1972 in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, where 6,000 children were in attendance with 35,000 spectators. And since...
holy that's
big. That's good, because that's Brooklyn. I mean, that's not...
huge.
That's not... that's not... I mean, that's a good chunk of people for 1972.
6,000 children?
6,000 children, 35,000 spectators, yeah.
I went to a big high school, and that's 3 of my high schools.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids.
Not huge high school, but it's a good-sized school. That's 3 of them.
Yeah, and ever since 1972 in Bay Ridge, again, it's kind of more of a fall festival as opposed to necessarily Thanksgiving, because they're holding it in October.
Yeah.
But there is now actually in Bay Ridge since 1972 Ragamuffin Day parades that are actually still held, and there are still some.
And it's still children dressing up as ragamuffins.
Yeah,
today
still dressing up as ragamuffins. A little less homeless folk. Yeah, a little less racially insensitive. At least I hope.
Right now,
although I'm going to be honest, I didn't look at a parade picture from last year to see what it looked like. But
I imagine there's not too many kids dressed in blackface.
Blackface, probably.
I would guess.
Just the mayor.
Don't know.
Just the mayor.
I would imagine now it's more of a Little Rascals type. Just a bunch of kids wearing adult clothes, basically.
Yep.
Type feel to it.
I did find out that in some of these smaller outskirt boroughs that they do still do this on a regular basis. You have Bay Ridge, you have Park Ridge, and Hoboken, New Jersey has their own little Hoboken, New Jersey has their own little festival. In September,
how about that?
This is actually
and now these are festival parade type things. This is not trick or treat style door to door.
No, this is a
city
parade,
event
dedicated,
that you have to go
this
participate.
This is a parade. And
there's not new people moving there being confused at a bunch of homeless looking kids knocking on their door.
No, it's a parade. It's a parade. It's a parade. Okay. Like in the town that I live in, we have parades every other day for everything. This is just one of those parades that's
why not?
Why not? Yep.
What's better than a parade?
Right. In September 26th.
Just about everything.
pretty much. In September 2016, which maybe this actually might, and I'm getting sidetracked here because they keep, but it might explain, like, when you go on and you do have parades, like the fire departments and shit huck out candy. Like, maybe that's like a throwback to the Ragamuffin Day thing, because every parade I've ever been to,
like a reverse sweets type.
Yeah.
They all have sweets and candies thrown out.
Yeah. In any case, in September 2016, in celebration of this, Bay Ridge actually renamed one of their streets to Ragamuffin Way in honor of their 50-year traditional Ragamuffin Day parade. So look at that. There's still
Ragamuffin. Now that's a street I want to live on.
Well, except for when the parade's going on.
Ragamuffin Way is a good address. Well, no, not then. But just as far as, like, I think a lot about street names, and, like, if I could choose which street I'd like to live on, I'd like to have a good name. Like, there are streets where I wouldn't consider buying a house on because the street name's shit. But Ragamuffin Way.
Ragamuffin Way. I can get down with that. So
that's a fun thing. Like, if anybody were ever to write me a letter, it'd be fun for them to write on that address.
So. Right? Yeah, it would be fun. It'd be fun. Well, nobody's writing letters anymore, but yeah, it'd be fun. So
no, of course not. But just in case, one day, maybe.
So if your kids this Thanksgiving are getting up underneath your foot while you're trying to cook that Thanksgiving Day turkey and getting a little annoyed at them, just tell them to go put on one of your shirts and huck a penny. Yeah, do we have a solution? Grab a handful of pennies and huck them at them.
That's it for this week in Historic Hindsight. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and join us next week when we actually talk about the samurai.